Patricia De Lille, a leader of the Good Party and also the Public Works Minister, was the first person to raise the issue of the arms deal using parliamentary privilege. Now that the trial featuring former President Jacob Zuma and arms manufacturer Thales is set to go ahead, let's hear some of her thoughts and reflections. Good evening and thank you so much for your time, Patricia De Lille. Tomorrow, as far as we've heard, is expected to be a postponement, but there's of course this ongoing issue of why this trial keeps being delayed, and this time Zuma's lawyers are pointing to the state for the delay because it seems that they're simply not ready.
Well, that will be unfortunate because, you know, the delay of the trial is really impacting on our democracy and on justice. And it's only fair that ex-President Jacob Zuma gets an opportunity so that the allegations against him can be tested in an open court or court of law without fear or favor. It's now 2 decades later, and the case seems to have gone through just about every single court in this country. And I can confirm that I am a witness in the trial. And, you know, every time we get notified and then it gets postponed. So I really hope that, you know, this can start as soon as possible.
What happens if it's set down for 2021? What do you think the implications of that will be?
Well, I don't know. I could have impact on some of the witnesses. You know, I was a witness in the Shabir Sheikh trial, and I don't know if all the witnesses are still around. But I think South Africans deserve to get to the bottom of it, to get to the truth. And that, of course, our courts, I've always put my faith in the independence of the judiciary, that will consider all evidence and witnesses before them. But I think the state prosecutor, Billy Downer, I think he can better explain the impact.
Sure. How much pressure do you think there is on the state in order to win this case? So, you know, how much rests on them being able to get this right?
For me, really, Cathy, is that on the 9th, I think it was the 9th of September 1999, when I went to Parliament and asked for a Judicial Commission of Inquiry, which finally happened a few years ago. And it's such a pity that the Commission of Inquiry was such a waste of money and time, because it came to the conclusion that there was certainly nothing wrong. And now we are back at court because the Commission failed to come up with any substantial or deliberately failed to come up with any substantial evidence on this matter. And so the impact for me is that it is not only ex-President Jacob Zuma that are alleged to be involved in this trial. So far, we've only seen Shabir Sheikh, Tony Ngene, and now ex-President Jacob Zuma. There are many other people who are alleged to be involved in this arms deal scam, that nothing has really happened to them because the Seriti Commission failed to bring those people to book.
I just want to draw on the issue of what this trial is likely to bring up, and perhaps some of the skeletons of the past. How likely is it that many of those will have to be raised if a fair trial is to be conducted?
Well, Cathy, when I was a witness in the Shabir Sheikh trial, there were close to 700 allegations that had to be tested. And the name of ex-President Jacob Zuma surfaced in almost all of them. So I think it will be the same charges that the court has put to Shabir Sheikh that President Zuma ex-President will have to respond to.
Our reporter earlier on was telling us that Shabir Sheikh is not down as one of the witnesses in this case. Are you surprised by that?
No, I'm not surprised at all. But, you know, it's always an option to subpoena. You know, he is the living example that, you know, parole has really been granted to him, even though I think he didn't deserve it. But I think the court will deal with that, and they can subpoena him to be a witness.
You've long been a champion against corrupt activities taking place, and recently your own department has been embroiled in some controversy around the border fence that you're building around, that
Yes.
was built rather around Zimbabwe. I wonder, how do you feel that something like that took place under your watch?
Well, first of all, if you look at the structure of government, you know, that the administration is involved in the procurement processes. I had to play an oversight role, and using my oversight role, I have called on the Auditor General, to investigate the whole procurement process to make sure that we got value for money. And also, as part of my oversight role, I've also asked the internal anti-corruption unit within the public works to also do an investigation. And once those reports become available, then certainly I will make them public, because people must be held to account. And I think where there's smoke, there's fire. But up till now, you know, the investigations are still continuing.
Do you think that it was money well spent, given what we now know about the state of the border today?
Well, certainly, the Department of Public Works was asked to just close the hotspot between Zimbabwe and South Africa, and that was about 40 kilometers. The whole border fence is about 700 kilometers. So I don't think so. I think that the investigation must show us whether we got value for money, whether in fact the fence was built according to the specification of the Department of Defense, because ultimately it is the constitutional role of the Department of Defense to protect our borders. So during the construction phase, I did write to the Minister of Defense to ask them to increase patrols around that area. But because those are the hotspots, you know, I think a lot of the fence is being broken down, it's being vandalized. People are just walking over into our country on a daily basis. So it must be a collaborative effort between the South African Defence Force to patrol our borders and public works to build a decent fence. But once the investigations are done, Cathy, I will certainly make all of that public.
Do you think that your department needed to do more work in terms of the kind of structure that needed to go up that would withstand even the vandalism that it's facing today? Because from the images that we've seen, part of that fence has been, you know, completely destroyed.
Yes, we must also condemn the vandalism and the criminality that's taking place there, Cathy. But in terms of the quality of the fence, that is the subject of an investigation now, and that we need to continue to look at all the borders of South Africa. They're very porous. You will recall when the President called for the lockdown, that 35 out of the 52 borders were closed. And then the Department of Public Works was asked, because the Bay Bridge border is so insecure and people could just walk over there to fix the 40 kilometers of the 70 kilometers. So after this, we all have to get together. Parliament, as there was a bill before Parliament called the Border Authority, which once implemented will bring together the Department of Home Affairs, Public Works, Defence, and all the relevant departments to make sure that we secure our borders in South Africa.
So what happens in the interim? Now that that border is not efficient and that people are still able to get through it, and it defeats the purpose of trying to contain the spread of COVID-19, is there another interim plan?
Well, what I've done, Cathy, in the meantime is that we stop payments to the contractor. We've so far spent about 21 million. So subject to the outcome of the investigation, we have not paid any further money to the contractor. And then we are in discussions now to look at the long-term plan that can fix all our borders.
So as it stands then, the fence will be left as is for now?
Well, for now, the contractor handed over the fence to the Department of Public Works, I think around about the 20th of April. The repair and the maintenance and the fixing of the fence, again for I think a third time, will have to be thoroughly discussed and looked into, so that if we do want to put up a fence at those hotspots, we have to look at a different methodology, because it's clear that the barbed wire fence is not working and it's not capable to stop people from entering our country illegally.